Okay guys, so today in English, we are going to talk about something that we've kind of already talked about. Well, we have already talked about, but this time we're talking about when we have pronouns. So, earlier in the year, a few weeks ago, we talked about subject-verb agreement, which was where the subject in the present tense had to match with that verb in the predicate. So that meant if we had a singular subject, we had to do something to the verb, and if we had a plural subject, we had to do something to the verb. That was, remember, we added that S or we did not add that S ending. So it's the same with pronouns. So today, the title of your notes, you should be open to a clean page in your English notebook. Excuse me. And the title of these notes is Pronoun-Verb Agreement. Go ahead and underline that and make sure you have today's date at the top. And the first thing we're going to say is a present tense. Remember, present tense means it's happening right now, not in the future, not in the past. It's happening right now. A present tense verb must agree with the subject pronoun. So we're only going to be talking about subject pronouns, not object pronouns. Because remember, the subject pronoun is what does the action in the sentence. An object pronoun is what the action happens to. So, when using a singular pronoun, which is, let's see, he, she, and it, so that's singular pronouns, he, she, or it. When you use those, add the letter S or the letters ES to the verb. For example, he, that's our subject pronoun, that's who's doing the action, wakes. We have our verb. Let's see, he wakes up early. We have our subject pronoun he, it is singular. So we took our base verb wake and we added S to the end. He wakes up early. This is telling us it's happening right now. We wouldn't say he wakes up early if it happened yesterday, and we wouldn't say he wakes up early if it happened tomorrow, if we're talking about that it's going to happen tomorrow. So we have our singular pronoun he, and so we added an S to our base pronoun to add he wakes up early. Now, the exception. That means, even though these two pronouns that I'm about to use may be singular, you do not follow the same rule. So, let's, when using the pronouns I and you. Now, you can be singular or plural, but even if you're using it as a singular pronoun. So when you use the pronoun I and you, do not add S or ES. So this is an exception to this rule. When you use the pronouns I and you, do not add an S. For example, I wake up early. We have our our pronoun I, even though whenever we use I, we're only talking about one person, us, me, we still do not add an S to the end of that base verb. Same with you. Excuse me. You wake up early. Again, we have that pronoun you. Even if I'm only talking to one of you right now, I would still not add that S to the end. Because listen to what happens if I add that S to the end. I wakes up early. That doesn't sound right at all. You wakes up early. Again, that doesn't sound right. So luckily, we can check ourselves just by reading the sentence in our head. So, he, she, and it, you do add S or ES to the end of the verb. He wakes up early. She wakes up early. It wakes up early. Maybe I'm talking about a dog or a bird. But if you use I or you, even if you're only using them to talk about one person, you do not add an S. Now, another rule. When using a plural pronoun, like we or they, do not add S or ES. Now remember, I'm not including us and them, or her or him, because I'm only talking about, subject pronouns. And remember, her, him, me, us, them, yeah, that's it, are all, not reflexive, object pronouns. So I'm only talking about subject pronouns. The verb does not have to agree with object pronouns because the verb is happening to the object pronouns, so that doesn't really matter. So, for example, we wake up early. We have our plural pronoun we, and then we have our verb, our base verb wake, which we did not add an S to because it would not sound right if we said we wakes up early. The same with they. They wake up early instead of they wakes up early. Okay, so that's all that's all the new information I'm going to give you today. So let's go ahead and work on the guided practice. So that means you need to go ahead and get out your Tuesday packet, open up past the Mystic Horse, the Mystic Horse sequence chart, and look at the front of your guided practice. It should say page 109 in the bottom, and it does have a back. Oops, turned too far. A back, which we will do together after we do the front. So go ahead and make sure you have that out, and make sure you are working on that with me. Okay, so this sheet doesn't always have pronouns. So, as a reminder, when you have a singular subject that is not a pronoun, anytime you have a singular subject that is not a pronoun, you add the letter S or ES. So anytime you have a singular subject that's a noun, not a pronoun, you add S or ES, to the verb. If you have, if I stand here, I'll be out of the way. If you have a plural subject, whether it is a pronoun or not, pronoun or non-pronoun, or I or you, do not add S or, or ES. So remember, any non-pronoun singular subject or he, she, or it, you add an S or an ES to the verb. Any plural subject, whether it's a plural pronoun or a plural non-pronoun, a noun, or I or you do not add S or ES. So really quick, let's read the bullet points at the top of this page together. It'll give us some more hints. Remember, a present tense verb must agree with its subject pronoun. You add S to most action verbs when you use the pronouns he, she, and it, or a singular noun. Do not add an S to an action verb in the present tense when you use the pronouns I, we, you, or they, or plural subjects. So now what we're going to do, the directions say write the correct form of the underlined action verb to complete each sentence. We're going to add an extra instruction. If the, I'm not going to write it because we're doing this together. If the subject is not a pronoun, so if it is a regular noun, right above it, we are going to write a pronoun to replace it. So number 1 says, my car use less gas than yours. Well, we know that doesn't sound right, and we know that my car can be replaced with it. We would not replace it with he or she because a car does not have a gender. We would not replace it with I or you because my car is not me. My car is not a person that I would be talking to. I mean, maybe, but not for real. So I would use my car is only one, so that means it. We know if we have it, we add S or ES. So my car uses less gas than yours. It uses less gas than yours. Number 2, windmills make energy from the wind. Well, we know that sounds right because windmills is a noun that we could replace with they. Because again, windmills means more than one object. We would not use we because we're not including ourselves with these windmills. They make energy from the wind. Whenever we have a plural subject, whether it's a pronoun or a noun, we do not add S. Number 3, every few years my dad buy a new truck. Well, my dad is the one doing the action, so that is the subject. My dad is a man, so we would replace it with he. We know if we have he, we add an S or an ES, so every few years he buys a new truck. Number 4, fossil fuels pollute the environment. Fossil fuels are what are doing the action, so that's our subject. It is plural, so we would make it they. We know that with plural pronouns, we do not add an S, so they pollute the environment. Number 5, scientists help people because they look for new ways to make energy. Well, they is the subject. They is a plural pronoun. We know plural pronouns. We do not add an S. So scientists help people because they look for new ways to make energy. Number 6, my mom put up solar panels, at her job. We know my mom is a girl, so that is she. She put up solar panels at her work. Now that actually does sound right, except that it is past tense. Because if she put it up, that means it already happened. If we want to say it's happening right now, remember, if we have she, we add S to the verb. She puts up solar panels at her job. It is not she put up because that would be past tense. And when we have past tense verbs, we don't have to worry about subject-verb agreement because it's the same no matter what. In the present tense, that's where we have to change the verb based on whether we have a singular or plural subject or if we have I or you. Number 7, Ed's sister design hybrid cars. Well, we know Ed's sister is the subject because that's who's doing the action. Ed's sister, one person, it's a girl. So we can replace it with she. And then we know if we have she, we add an S. So it is she designs hybrid cars. Number 8. I think it says Rashid, yes, Rashid know a great deal about electricity. Well, Rashid is the subject. Rashid is usually a man's name. So Rashid is one person who is a man. So we would replace it with he. We know anytime we have he, we add s to the verb. So he knows a great deal about electricity. Number 9, where I live, we get energy from the river. Well, we is the subject because we are the ones getting something. Whenever we have a plural pronoun like we do not add s to the verb. So, where I live, we get energy from the river. Number 10, Peter's grandfather worked in an oil field. Well, we know Peter's grandfather is the subject because that's who's doing the action. Peter's grandfather is one person who is a man, so we can replace it with he. We know anytime we have he, we add s to the verb, so he works in an oil field. Number 11, my uncle ride a bike to work. My uncle is the subject, that's who's doing the action. My uncle is one person who is a man, so we can replace it with the pronoun he. We know if we have he, we add s to the verb, so he rides a bike to work. Number 12, the burning of coal sends soot into the air. Now this may be something that you think, what is the subject here? Well, it's actually the burning of coal, because the burning of coal is what is doing the action. It is the one sending something into the air. The burning of coal is not something that we can say is a he or a she, but it's only one thing. It's only one burning of coal, not many, like over and over and over again, just one time. It is one thing. It does not have a gender, so we would use it. Anytime we have it, we add s to the verb. So it sends soot into the air. Number 13, we have we need more twigs to start the fire. We is the subject pronoun because we are the ones needing something. Whenever we have a plural pronoun like we do not add s. So we need more twigs to start the fire. Number 14, our teacher hiked in the mountains. Well, our teacher is the subject, that's the one who's hiking. Our teacher, well, we don't know if in this sentence they're talking about a man or a woman, but we would never put it when we're talking about a person. So we're just going to guess whether this teacher is a boy or a girl. We'll just pretend it's me. So, she, and we know if we have she, we add s to the end of the verb. So she hikes in the mountains. Okay, that's it for that side. I hope that you understood why we changed all of these subjects to pronouns so that we can see this pronoun-verb agreement. However, we can also see that pronoun-verb agreement and subject-verb agreement do the same thing. We just look at the subject, figure out if it's singular or plural. If it's singular, we add an s to the verb. If it is plural, we do not add an s to the verb. The only exception is I and you when we are using them in the singular form because of just the way the English language is. I do not know the reason why. I think somebody along the line just said, well, it sounds better, even if we're only talking about one person, it sounds better to not add an s with I or you, so that's what we're going to do. And that's just how it is. Okay, go ahead and turn to the back, and let's do that together. Okay, so on the back, we are going to be doing something similar in one part, but a little different in another part. So before we begin, it's the part that says, remember we're working on the back of the page we just did. So it should look like this, where you're filling in the blanks instead of the one where you have like shapes that you're moving around. So let's read the top together first because that will help us on this sheet. And it says, pronouns and their present tense verbs must agree. For most verbs, add an S when the pronoun is he, she, or it. Do not add an S to the verb when the pronoun is I, we, your, or they. You is what it should say. So for example, they rip open their envelopes. That's a plural subject pronoun, they, so we would not add an S. She rips open her envelope too. She is a singular pronoun, and we know we add S, so she rips. He falls to the floor laughing. He is a singular pronoun, so we do add S. We fall to the floor laughing too. We is a plural pronoun, so that means we do not add an S. Okay, now in the top part, numbers 1 through 6, the directions say fill in the blank with the correct pronoun, and they have options underneath. So we have to look and figure out which one works best. So number 1, is it you cover the car with a blue tarp, she cover the car with a blue tarp, or he cover the car with the blue tarp? Well, cover is our verb, and we do not have an S at the end, so we would not use she or he, so that means it has to be you cover the car with a blue tarp. Number 2, blank delivers the news on the radio. Is it we, didn't mean to underline that. Is it we delivers the news on the radio, she delivers the news on the radio, or you delivers the news on the radio? Well, delivers is our verb, and it has an S, so that means we can't use we or you, so it has to be she delivers the news on the radio. Number 3, blank want to fix the oven today. Is it we want to fix the oven today, she want to fix the oven today, or he want to fix the oven today? Well, our verb is want. It does not have an S on the end, so that means it can't be she or he, so it has to be we want to fix the oven today. Now number 4, blank respect the hotel manager. Is it she respect the hotel manager, I respect the hotel manager, or he respect the hotel manager? Well, let's look at our verb. It's respect. It does not have an S on it, on the end, so that means it can't be she or he, so it has to be I respect the hotel manager. Number 5, blank pins medals on the volunteer. Is it she pins medals on the volunteers, I pins medals on the volunteer, or you pins medals on the volunteer? Our verb is pins. It does have an S, so that means it can't be I or you, so it has to be she pins medals on the volunteer. So, I hope you've been paying attention to your capitalization, because if you notice, these are all the beginnings of sentences, so that means they need to be capitalized. Even when you're filling in blanks, you need to check to see if you need to capitalize a letter. Whether it's proper or if it's at the beginning of a sentence, you need to be capitalizing that, even if you're just filling in the blanks. You've got to pay attention to where a word comes. It would be wrong if you put a lowercase because you're filling in a sentence at the very beginning. Okay, number 6, blank drags the desk into the other room. Is it you drags the desk into the other room? Is it he drags the desk into the other room, or I drags the desk into the other room? Well, our verb is drags. It has an S. That means we can't use you or I, so it has to be he drags the desk into the other room. Okay, now for numbers 7 through 12, we're going to switch gears a little bit, and instead of choosing the correct pronoun, we are going to, based on the verb, we're going to choose the correct verb based on the pronoun. So that means this time, instead of looking to see if our verb has an S or not, we need to look at whether our pronoun is she, he, or it, or is it I, you, we, or they. Number 11, she blank, I can't really read it up here, but I have it in front of me. She blank hard to find the other sock. Is it she tries hard to find the other sock, or she try hard to find the other sock? Well, our pronoun is she, we know anytime it's she, we add S or ES, so it can't be try, it has to be she tries hard to find the other sock. Now number 8, he blank for the next train to arrive. Our subject is he. Anytime we have he, we add S, so it can't be wait, it has to be he waits for the next train to arrive. Train, not chain. Number 9, he blank the big house. Our pronoun is he, so that means we do have to add S or ES, so it can't be admire, it has to be he admires the big house. Number 10, he blank with the shopkeeper. Our verb is he. Anytime we have he, we do add an S, so it can't be bargain. It has to be he bargains with the shopkeeper. That's when you go up to somebody and you say, this is $5, but I can give you $4 right now, or something like that. That's what bargaining is. Okay, number 11, she blanked the money under the mattress. Well, our pronoun is she. We know if we have she, we do add S, so it cannot be hide. It has to be she hides the money under the mattress. Wonder what she's doing. And last one, number 12, they blank everyone on the list. Well, they is a plural pronoun, which means we do not add an S, so it cannot be calls. It has to be they call everyone on the list. Okay, that's it for the guided practice. Now go ahead and work on the independent practice. So turn it over. Yes. So turn it over from that, and now you're looking at the independent the independent practice. So this is what you're going to do on your own. What you have to do is you have these sentences and you have these boxes at the top. What you have to do is you have to put these words in the boxes in order. The words that are not in boxes, you can leave the same. So that means you might need to write small because you don't have much room. You have to put them in the right order, and in one of the boxes, they have the rectangle. They have options. You have to choose the correct one. So for number 1, we have the, shouts, they, he, we, at, and then children in the street. So you have to put these shapes in order on this line. Now you need to write the words, not the shapes. And the word in the, well, it's in the oval here, but it's mostly in the rectangle everywhere else. You need to choose the correct one. You are not going to use they, he, and we. You are going to choose the one based on the verb. So in this case, the verb is shouts. So you need to use he, she, or it. Our option is he. So you should be he shouts at the children in the street. Kind of did that one for you. So you need to put these shapes in order, but make sure you're writing the words. And then when you're given the option of more than one word, you need to choose the correct pronoun, or on the bottom, you need to choose the correct verb based on the pronoun. So at the top, you're choosing the pronoun based on the verb. You need to look, does that verb have an S or not? And then on the bottom, you're choosing the verb based on the pronoun. So is the verb she, he, or it? Or is it I, you, we, or they? Okay. If you have any questions about today's lesson, make sure to reach out to me today during my office hours between 1 and 5, and I will help you out. Okay, go ahead and do that independent practice right now.